So that's where the videos live.
Thank you, Chef.
You're welcome. Thank you. Right, so I'm just a little short of, I'm 8.9 ounces, so I need to grab a little more masa. All right, so I'm gonna go wash my hands real quick. All right. So I've got the masa. I'm gonna put right into a bowl, just like so. Okay, and I'm gonna just kind of combine everything except the lard and also the stock. So I've got my masa here. All right, now I've got the right amount of masa in here. I'm gonna get my, what is it, baking powder. That is, we've got our baking powder, 1 tablespoon or teaspoon. There's a tablespoon. Tablespoon. guess my earphones were working. Okay, so I've got my baking powder. Now I need my soda. That's a half a tablespoon. Go. That is the leavener. This is kind of what makes it kind of rise a little and puff up a little bit. We have salt. One salt. I've got lard, chicken stock, eggs. So in a mixing bowl, you're gonna add the masa, baking powder, baking soda. You're gonna boil the chicken stock, and the chicken stock's gonna be kind of hot. You're going to add the stock over the masa and add these. Make the rojo, the salsa rojo, and add that in there. Joe, want to do the rojo, or do you want to just do plain masa in it? What do y'all want to do? You want to put some salsa rojo, and I can make that for you, or do you want to just do plain masa in here? And y'all can kind of guide me in that direction. What do y'all want? We'll just do regular tamales, regular with no rojo inside of it. So we will do the masa, we'll do the lard, we're gonna add flavor. Right, so I've got everything. I'm gonna kind of mix all of this up just like this. Bada bing, bada boom, right? Mixing, mixing. Has anybody on here made tamales before?
I have, but I don't really remember how to do it. I just know that I
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
mom.
no, I mean, it's kind of one of those things you sometimes will see it in the holiday time, and a lot of times the elders, the older family members, they typically will they will be making the matzo dough because they know what the consistency is and all of that sort of stuff. Let me go wash my hands. I just touched the garbage can. So I've got some stock, warm stock. I need to make sure I have. If you don't have stock, you can always use water. It's not going to have as much flavor, but it is what it is, right? Warm stock and strain it. So I got my warm stock right here. Got my ladle. And unfortunately or fortunately, whatever you want to call it, this is all done by hand. So you're going to have to get your hands kind of dirty. You're going to be kind of digging it or just kind of mashing it up. In the masa, I need to lay out my lard real quick. Got my lard. And it says basically you want After you mix that, you're going to bring stock to a boil. You're going to add the salt and lard to the masa. So I'm going to go ahead. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of cut in the lard. So here's the lard in my hand. I'm going to kind of cut it in, kind of like I'm making biscuits, or like I'm cutting in butter into the dough. So I'm going to just kind of cutting it in, mixing the lard into it. Okay, so I got that. I'm gonna go ahead, get my yolks ready, so I don't have to crack my yolks later on. And I'm going with 2 yolks because this yolk, I don't know if you can see, it is huge. It is a big yolk, so I'm gonna only go with 2. Thanks. All right, so I've got so right now I have my masa, my salt, my lard, my baking powder, baking soda, all in here. Now I've got the stock. I'm gonna go ahead, and it calls for, how much stock does it call for? 12 ounces. I don't know if you need all that much, but we're gonna put it in and start mixing it around. I always have a dry hand and a wet hand.
If you add salsa to it, how much would you add to it?
Maybe about an ounce or 2. That's it.
And at what point, after the water or before?
Could you say that one more time?
Would you add it right before the water or after?
After. But what I would do is I would adjust it so where, because that salsa is wet, right? So, or moisture, so where it could tend to get too wet. So you just got to be careful. But I'm just kind of mixing in. I mean, I could put in some green salsa if I wanted to. Or, you know, if I had red salsa or what have you. But you see how it's still all very crumbly. That tells me that I need a lot more. And so it says you're going to add the stock and masa and flour and mix. You'll add the salsa if you have salsa, and you're going to put your egg yolks in here as well. So I'm going to go ahead, put in my yolks. Oops, I just put in my 2 yolks. And again, I might need 3 yolks. I don't know. But again, I can always add more. I can never take away. Does that make sense to y'all? Just make sure that you can always add more. You know, it's very hard to take it away. And like I said on Monday, you know, when we're making this, we want to make sure that it's the right texture, right consistency. It should, you know, be soft enough to spread on a corn husk, but it shouldn't be too thick either. As this masa sits also, it will kind of dry out as well. So you might need to, as it kind of sits here and the moisture is going to evaporate and all of that. So it tends to, you might need to occasionally add more liquid to it. But you see how now it's, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a ball, roll it up just like so. I'm going to put my thumb. And do you see how it kind of cracked whenever I put my thumb? That tells me it's not enough moisture. Like I was saying on Monday, you need to kind of roll it up and see if it cracks. That tells me I need more moisture. If it doesn't, and it's just a nice little indentation, you're good. Guys, I need to go get my water. All right, so I've got my masa here. I'm gonna ball it up now. And press down. Still cracked a skosh on the side. I don't know if you see that or not. I'll have a little bit of white cheddar would be great. Yeah, or if you want to just leave it here, I can cut what I need off and I'll bring it back to you. If you would like that. If not, you can cut it. Just put it right there. That's fine. Thank you. Thank you. So I'll have some tamales for you later on. All right, so we've got our masa right here. See, it looks kind of tacky and wet. That's kind of looking good. Again, ball it up just like so. Press down. All right, that shows that there's no cracking around the edges. That tells me that this masa is squared up, ready to go. Now, I do need to taste it, right? I need to, now granted, it's got 2 egg yolks in it, right? So 2 egg yolks is not gonna kill me. You know, salmonella is not gonna, you know, the 2 egg yolks are not a bad deal. But if you not want to taste it, you could kind of steam it a little bit, steam up some to taste it, or I would just say taste it. It's not going to get you sick or anything. Plus, the stock has been at a kind of a boil, so it kind of heated up the. Okay. I think that needs more salt. And you know what? We'll put in a little salsa verde. A little drop or two, just to add a little Scotia flavor in there. And I'm gonna have my chicken stock kind of sitting here, staying warm, because I will need more chicken stock as it sits. And as I'm kind of getting everything situated, it will need more. Right, so I've got my masa right here, and I'm okay with it being a little wetter at the very beginning because I'm gonna have to wait a few minutes and kind of get my meat together, or whatever my filling is, and that masa will kind of start to dry out. So here it is. I'm going to wrap it with plastic wrap. I like to actually put it directly on top of the masa instead of just wrapping the bowl. Kind of like I'm putting kind of like for guacamole or whatever else that you put the plastic wrap directly onto the product so it doesn't dry out. That's the goal, is for this masa not to dry. So I'm going to get the plastic wrap, and I'm going to go directly on top. Everybody kind of see that? And I do not want to put this in the fridge, right? Because it'll harden up. I don't want that. So I'm going to just kind of put it over at the corner of my station. I'm going to kind of clean up my station a little bit, get organized, and kind of get everything situated for my filling. Okay. So my filling, I've got chicken. I can have some cheese. I could put ground beef, like a taco seasoning, taco meat, if I wanted to. I could put, you name it, anything and everything. This is a vessel to put product in. So I've got some cheese. I'm going to grate up some cheese real quick so where I'm kind of staged up, and then I'm going to just start making my tamales. Questions about that so far? Anybody have any big plans for the weekend? See, it's my daughter's 18th birthday on Saturday. Unfortunately, we won't be able to see her. None of us could get off in time to go see her to college. Cheese grater. Find a cheese grater. So I'm going to go in the other kitchen. product for the following week. So on Monday, between 12 and 1, you're going to need to come up here to pick up your product. So please make sure you come and do that. Yeah. I'm gonna move some stuff around because I'm gonna have to start filling my product in a second. I'm gonna grade this cheese, and then I'm going to start filling my tamales. I can make just plain cheese tamales. I can make whatever. The world is your oyster with whatever you want to fill your tamales with. It is up to you. So here, I'm going to go ahead and mix up my mixture for my chicken. So I've got my chicken right here. Get a spoonful of my verde, queso, and remember, this chicken we simmered, we boiled, broiled or boiled. I'm sorry, we simmered in basically the stock, right? So this chicken's not very well seasoned. So we're going to need to season this chicken with a little salt, black pepper, and then I need to taste it, right? To make sure it tastes good. Because again, you never, ever send out something that you haven't tasted or someone hasn't tasted. Because the customer needs to, you don't want to test out anything on the customer. So I'm going to mix this together. All right, tastes good. Got a good flavor to it. I'm going to grate a little more cheese so I can just have I'll make some just plain cheese tamales. So now I'm kind of at the ready to make the tamales. Now, my tamales can sit and hold as long as I want, but I'm going to make them, and then I will. So I've got my tamale husk or corn husk. Sorry, I said tamale husk, but I meant corn husk. I've got my corn husk right here. They've been soaking in water. I'm going to take it, dump out the water, and then I've got my corn husk right here. They are wet, right? They're quite wet, so I'm going to try to just dry them off or shake them off. I do not want a lot of moisture. If we didn't soak them, it wouldn't be as malleable or pliable, and we wouldn't have been able to pull it out. So I'm gonna move my cutting board. Or actually, I'll leave it there. Okay, so I've got my corn husk here. And you have a wide end that's wide, and then you have a skinnier end that kind of tapers down. So you're going to use the wide end, and it kind of cups up. We're going to put the masa basically from here. I'm sorry, basically about halfway and down, and I'm going to smear it right in onto it. I get my spoon. It's on the back of the spoon, the masa, and I'm going to just and you don't want to over fill this. Okay, you want a good even amount. You don't want it too thick. Okay, now I can put in my filling. You do not want to fill this too much. You just want to put a little bit in the center. Kind of roll it just like so. Take this in, pull it back, and there's the tamale, just like this. Now, if you want to get all fancy, you can take a tamale, a corn husk, and you can pull, you can make a little like strip, just like so. Kind of go up underneath this little flap right here, and you can tie it like that if you want to get all fancy like, but this is kind of a traditional how they kind of fold it just like so. And there is a tamale. Okay, so I'm gonna just kind of put those off to the side, and I'm gonna just start banging out all my tamales. And if I need to, I can thin down this batter a little bit, and I think not batter, but masa. I'm gonna add just a little more stock because it's getting a little thick because as it sits, that masa basically hydrates the dough, or it starts to hydrate again, so where you tend to need to add more occasionally. So I'm going to spread it nice and thin. You don't want to go too high up on the tamale when it comes to filling the actual masa. And remember, this has baking powder, baking soda. So it's going to have a leavening agent. So it's going to puff up a little bit. So, you know, the amount that you think you're going to need, sometimes you don't need that much because of it will puff up on you. Take it, flip it over. There we go. I'm going to do the chicken tamales first, chicken and cheese tamales, then I'll do some just plain cheese tamales. The next thing I'm going to work on is the salsa verde. I'm gonna start roasting that stuff, basically kind of like what we did yesterday with this for the verde sauce for the rice. We'll roast all the product, and then I will puree it. And then I need to make my rice as well. Right, so this one is a little longer or a little wider, so I'm gonna kind of rip off a little bit of it so where it's not as big. Cheese. You can do a dessert one. That's, you know, a little sweeter. The masa sometimes is sweeter. Sometimes you will add they add a little bit of food coloring to it, kind of a pink food coloring, so it'll kind of give it that pinkish look. And pulling the excess tamale or the husk off, whatever I don't need. Some chicken again. Hold on. Turn off the camera and turn it back on. It looks like it's blurry. Go. Hold it up. You want to try to make sure the outside of the tamales aren't getting dirty. So if you see my cutting board, it looks getting a little kind of janky and got crap all over my cutting board. I'm going to wipe down my cutting board just so where it doesn't get on the outside of my husks, because I don't want masa on the outside. I don't want cheese on the outside. I don't want any of that on the outside, because again, that's the shows, you know, what your customers are going to see. If it's going to look all janky and nasty, knowing again, people are not going to want that food. Again, we want to eat sexy food, not ugly food, right? So make sure your food looks the part and it looks good. Extra stuff on the outside. Got cutting board cleaned off again. I'm gonna trim off some of this. Masa. Thin. There. Cheese. Up. And the thicker your tamales are, the longer it's going to take to cook, guys. So, you know, understand that the thicker it is, the longer it's going to take. So, you know, I would suggest all of y'all like trying to not have such a thick tamale. It just will take less time. And, you know, when it steams, if it is thick and you're steaming it, it tends to get kind of soggy if you're not careful with it, because with it being so thick, it's going to take a while to cook, and you tend to overcook it, and the tamales just get so wet and soggy and nasty. So I think I have enough for maybe one more tamale. Got enough masa, but I don't have enough filling, so it's all right. This is going to be my last one right here. And if this is hanging over a little bit, I usually trim it off just so where it doesn't have that ugly look. Again, I want uniformity. I want everything to look about the same on all of them. Okay, so my tamales are made. I have, hold on a second. I've got, some masa left. You can save it. If you had more filling, you had more cheese, whatever else, you could go ahead and fill it. I'm okay with using it all for time. Make more. So I've got 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I've got 10 tamales. This recipe says it goes for 12. That's about right. I could have, if I had a few more, fill it up. Okay, I'm gonna clean up my station, get everything kind of organized, get rid of anything I do not need. Okay, so my tamales are done. They're just sitting in pie tins, just like so. Now, if I wanted to, if I was gonna, I could make these up and just let them sit in the fridge, or I could freeze them like this, and then I could cook them as I need it. Because no matter what, in a kitchen, you're not going to make tamales to order. That's just common knowledge. You don't make it to order. You'll make it ahead of time, and you'll just like freeze a bunch or whatever else, or you could make them before service or whatever else, but you need to stage yourself up. Okay, so my tamales are squared up. They're ready to go. Now, I'm going to go ahead and now get started with my salsa verde. This is going to be basically a repeat from yesterday of what I did. Cutting board. And so let me get the recipe for okay, so salsa verde, you have roasted garlic, tomatillo, poblano, lemon juice or lime juice, jalapenos, cilantro, salt, and pepper. So basically like what we did yesterday. So I'm gonna get a jalapeno, a poblano, my tomatillos, my onion and garlic. So I've got poblano, tomatillos, jalapeno, and I need to go get garlic. So give me a second on the garlic. All I'm going to do is I'm going to cut those tomatillos. Okay, so I'm going to get my garlic. I do not chop up the garlic. I'm going to leave it whole, clove, because we're going to roast it. Nice cloves of garlic. And let's see, what does it say? I would say you don't want, you want garlic, but you don't want it too strong. I'm going to go with, these are pretty good sized heads of garlic here, or in cloves of garlic. I'm going to go 3 cloves. Quarter these tomatillos. And if you have not, I would suggest you rinsing these tomatillos because they do have kind of a sticky feel to it. We'll go jalapeno. I'm going to get one more tomatillo. I don't want this really hot. Again, you can decide for yourself on what temperature you want your salsa. I'm gonna go more of a mild. So 1 jalapeno, 1 poblano. I'm going to add just a little bit of onion to mine. If you do not want to add any onion to yours, that's totally fine. I just like to have a little bit of roasted onion, just a quarter of an onion, just something to give a little bit of color, Maillard reaction, a little flavor. I'm going to get some canola oil, rub it down. I don't want too much. Now, the issue is if I put too much, it could easily get, my salsa could be too greasy. I'm just put a very small amount, rubbing it all around, I just want all my product to glisten or shine. That tells me that, I've got enough oil on there. So I've got, everything's kind of glistening and shining. This is going to go in a 375 or 400 oven until roasted to the desired doneness. And you kind of saw what I did yesterday with my doneness. So you can go longer. I'm gonna maybe even go a little bit longer to get a little more caramelization or browning on everything, so where it gives a little bit stronger flavor. But that is it. So my salsa is going right now. My tamales are made. What I can do is I'm going to go ahead. Here is my container that I've got water in, and I've got my slotted pan. And then I'm going to heat this pan up until it starts to steam. And then when it starts to steam, then I will put my tamales in, cover it up, and cook it until done. And done really depends, you just got to check it and make sure that, the masa is cooked. It's not raw, all of that. But, I would say, 30 minutes or so, 30, 45 minutes, depending on how thick they are. I will kind of let you know how long mine take. I'm also kind of staging myself up. I'm going to get some lines and cut them so where I've kind of got that ready, because I know for my salsa, I'm going to need some lines for my salsa. So I've got a couple of lines cut, ready for me. I'm going to go also and cut up. No, you're fine. I'm good. I'm good. I'm just doing tamales and salsa verde. Oh, I didn't know if you wanted them off. They were off, and I just turned them on because thinking.
Yeah, thank you. I'll strain them as soon as I start my next class. So
I have nothing to do. If you want me to strain it?
don't go out of your way, Jeff.
Oh, I mean, if I have time, I'll do it.
Okay.
For sure.
Do you know anything about the ice machine? It seems unplugged.
Oh, no, I don't.
Yeah.
Unless they are trying to let it go or. All right, so my salsa is going. My tamales are made. Let's see, what do we got here? Oops. Let's go to today. So we have the, we need to do the rice. We've got the salsa going. I'm gonna have to puree it, and the tamales are made. I'm gonna go ahead, get a blender set up for my salsa and kind of get my station kind of squared up. Just kind of, it's one of those, I would say, shorter days, easier days today. I'm going to go ahead, get aluminum foil ready for my steamer. Go get a blender. Oh, and you know what? Also, I need to get some cilantro. You want to make sure you have enough water in the steamer so where it's not going to go away. You need to, just manage that. You do not want that product to get dry, because if it starts to burn or anything in the bottom of that pan, it's going to give your tamales a bad flavor. So I'm going to move my camera around. So there's the blender. I got my tamales sitting ready. I've got my limes kind of over here. So I'm kind of just at my ready, just kind of getting everything situated. Here's my steamer right here. Once it's in, I start to see steam coming out. I'm gonna go ahead. I don't like laying them on top of each other because they won't cook evenly. Let me get my what I've done. You can see my tamales there. I don't know if you can see the steam coming up. I'm going to turn it down, kind of lower, so where it's just going to steam. And then I'm going to wrap it in aluminum foil and just let it sit and steam. And once I'm going to probably check it in about water there. I know good enough water. I'm going to probably check it in about 30 minutes. So around 8 o'clock or so. Okay, so I don't know if you can see, but I've got it wrapped up. I did put plastic wrap around the side or on it as well, just so it'll trap in the steam a little bit more. So I've got that going. I need to go check my salsa verde or my salsa stuff. I smell it in the oven. And just give it a shaky. You can see my poblano is starting to roast. I'm going to flip it over, maybe flip over my jalapeno. Shaky. Put it back in the, well, check it a little bit and shake it up and wait until it's ready. I've got my blender right here. I can also, if I want to, I could get my rice going, but I'm gonna probably get my rice going once my tamales, I take my tamales out just because of, I don't want my rice to go, get too cold. My tamales I can hold warm and wrap them up in aluminum. I can wrap them up in aluminum foil or something like that to keep them nice and moist and so it doesn't dry out. But that is kind of where I'm at. So I'm kind of at a holding pattern right now. Questions, problems, concerns so far? Everybody good? Okay, so I'm just gonna wait for a couple of minutes. So I just need to get a pan for my rice. Got a pan, got some plastic or some aluminum foil, some plastic wrap to wrap it up. I need to find my rice. My rice here. So it's a 2-to-1 ratio. All right, but again, I'm using some of this puree, right? So I'm gonna, that's gonna be part of my liquid. Since I used water yesterday, I'll use stock today for my rice. Okay, so I got my stock here. Stuff is going, doing its thing. In the oven. So I've got that verde sauce that I made yesterday. that I just poured in with some extra stock. And then I'm gonna do 2 times the amount, right? 2-to-1 ratio. So I have, so this is the water or the stock and the salsa verde. I'll put in my rice. Stir it up. I'm going to put in some salt. Turn on the heat, let it come up to a simmer. Once it comes up to a simmer, then I'm going to turn it down to or let it come up to a boil, turn it down to a simmer, wrap it up in plastic wrap or aluminum foil, and then cook it in the oven or on the stove top till done. Let it sit, steam, fluff it up with a fork, and that is the rice. I will show you in a second, but once it comes up to a simmer, I'm going to give it a quick stir, and then that's the last time I'm going to stir it. My tamales, I can see the steam going out from my tamales over here. So it's doing its thing. Got my rice started. I'm going to go check my salsa. Right back. All right, so I'm just kind of sitting idle for a few minutes, just still kind of waiting for everything to come up. The rice almost come up. On my salsa verde oven. You kind of see right here, it's doing its thing. I turned up the heat a little bit to 400, just so I can get a little more kind of color to it. So I'm just kind of sitting idle right now. Limes, I need to go get some cilantro. Or I want to have probably fry up some chips. I've got some tortillas, some corn tortillas right here. I can, since I'm making salsa, I can go ahead and fry up some corn tortilla chips. Just to put it on the fryer. And we'll cut these chips. I've got some tortilla chips that I'm going to fry up for the salsa verde. I have a plate for my tamales because it's going to be more of a family style for the tamales. My rice has come up to a simmer. I'm going to turn it off, get my aluminum foil. I'm going to stir it real quick. The salsa verde that we have in the rice, right? It's heavier than water, right? And so it kind of sinks down. So I'm going to just make sure I give it a stir before I do it. If I want to add a little bit of butter in here as well, I can. But I will add flavor. I'm going to just put aluminum foil around my rice right here. In the oven. Now I just turned it down because I had it at 400. Because I was roasting my peppers, right, and roasting everything. So I turned it down. Here is for my salsa verde right here. Here's all the peppers, you name it. So I'm gonna let that sit and cool for a couple minutes. I'm gonna get a pair of gloves. And so I can get the seeds out of the poblano. And if you want, depending on your heat, what you like, right? Really kind of depends on how hot it. Oh, if you want to add the seeds to leave your seeds of your jalapenos in, whatever else. It is now what, 7:30, so my rice should be done by 8-ish, or it's 7:35. My rice should be done around 8 o'clock-ish. So I'm going to look at my tamales at that time. They're doing their thing. The tamales are looking good. I'm going to just keep it going. Gloves on so I can feel the all right, so I got that. I've got my blender right here. My jalapeno, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the stem off. Just throw it right into here. My poblano, I'm going to take the stem off and I will take the seeds out of my poblano. Right? I don't mind some seeds, but I don't want a lot. And again, I'm going to use a paper towel to wipe it out. I have seeds. For today, you don't really need to peel the poblano because this is salsa. We're using it in a salsa setting, and the skin doesn't really matter on the salsa. Now, if I left the skin on when I was doing it for the rice, what would happen is you would see the skin kind of floating on top of the rice, and then you'll just see kind of that, and it's just not appetizing. It's not it's not a good appetizing thing. I'm going to scrape all of this into it. Now, you see, there's a lot of what I would call fond or stuff kind of stuck to the bottom here. I'm going to just add a little bit of water or stock or something to kind of just a touch, so I can kind of get a little bit of that flavoring that's on the bottom of the pan. And I just kind of put a little stock in there and kind of scrape it up a little bit. Plus that caramelization is great, what you want. Soak this pan. The pan is stock. I don't want to sit and scrub for hours on it. Okay, so I'm going to bring over always when you're pureeing something or putting it in a blender, start off low. Okay, so I've pureed it. I'm going to take it out. I'm going to put it into a container. And then I'm going to adjust. Use some plus. And I'm going to puree that. So and I think my headphones shut off for a second. Back on. So I put that in there. lemon juice or lime juice in there. I know I'm gonna need salt. Okay, I'm gonna take it out, taste it, and adjust all the seasonings. Add a little bit of liquid if you need it to get it out of the, get everything out of your blender. So here is my salsa right here. I will taste it in just a second. I'm gonna clean up my station real quick so I have room. Fryer is about ready for me to fry up the tortilla chips. All right, so here is my salsa verde right here. I will taste it and adjust the seasoning. And either I can have it warm, like it is right now, or I can cool it off and have cold salsa. It's up to you what you want to do. Wiping down the edges because I've got it all over. Edge. My tamales are going. I will check that in a few minutes. My rice is going. Fryer's almost ready. I'm going to get a container to put my put a paper towel down underneath in my bowl where I'm my chips. That just needs oil. So that needs oil. And so, salsa verde, rice, tamales. Kind of just sitting idle right now. I'm gonna go ahead and check my tamale. Still a little raw on the center, so I'm gonna just let it go. Okay, so the tamale is still going. The rice should be ready shortly. Fryer, I think it's ready now. I'm gonna fry up these chips. I'm just right here. Gonna pop in a little bit of salt. When it's done. Done. Fry it up. Got nice crispy tortilla chips right here with salt on the outside of it. Turn off my fryer. Longer. I need to taste this salsa verde. A little more salt. Some more acid. Lime juice. Taste it again. All right, salsa verde is done. Chips are done. My rice, I'm gonna check on in just a few minutes. making sure my aluminum foil is covering the tamales. Tamales are going. They probably have about maybe 10, maybe 15 minutes left. Checking our rice. Here is my rice. It always looks a little kind of funky at the very beginning. I'm going to check to make sure that the rice is good. I'm going to just fluff it up a little bit. I'm going to put salt, obviously, because we need flavor. I'm going to put a little lime juice in there as well. And like if you've ever had Chipotle's lime cilantro rice. I'm gonna wrap it up and just let it sit and stay warm. Molly's still doing their thing. My salsa is made. So I'm kind of sitting idle right now. I'm going to go ahead and scrub my dishes, clean up all my dishes and kind of do that. Any questions so far? Everybody good? So I'm gonna go
Good.
ahead, scrub my dishes now, get my area ready to plate up because now I'm just kind of now waiting to plate up. So I'm going to open the dish pit and start. I'm gonna take out my tamales. They're pretty much done. Sit. In a oven, just a warm oven, just to stay warm until I'm ready for them. I do want, when you steam them, sometimes they do they're a little bit wet. So a lot of times you want to I'm gonna just take it off the heat, let it just sit and steam the way it is right there. And I will take it off and plate it up in a little bit. Once it kind of sits and that's it. Please remember, if you're in the area, on Monday, you will be are in the 90-mile radius. Come over here. I will be able to help facilitate you picking it up. Come here early, fine, you just need to let me know, because I will be your lecture, you're early. Gotta remind you. start to getting things ready to plate up. All right, so I'm gonna put my salsa verde in container here. I'll have some of that pickled jalapenos to put on the side or with the tamales. Okay, so here's like my salsa verde with my chips. There's my tamales. Mixture of chicken and cheese. Tamales. I'll show you one of the tamales. This one was the uglier one, the one that kind of started falling apart. You're gonna see it's filled. I'm gonna taste it, just be on the safe side. Tastes good. And let me get my rice. Actually, chop up some cilantro just so I can sprinkle it on top. There's a better appearance than just a bunch of leaves, because no one's gonna eat just the leaf by itself, but if you finally chop it up. Okay, so let me wipe down my table. Okay, so here is my rice. You can see it steaming hot. My tamales, salsa verde with chips. Question? All right.
Oh,
well,
chef, looks good.
Yeah, looks good, chef.
Yeah, so I can't let y'all out, this early, so I'm gonna be just kind of sitting here. I don't know if you saw all that stock, those big pots on the stove. I'm gonna strain those pots. I'm gonna kind of just do some maintenance stuff and around here, but if y'all don't have any questions, I'm gonna go give away this food to some people here, because I do not want to eat it right now. That's the one thing is, a lot of times when I cook the food, I don't want to eat it because I've already cooked it. I've already tasted it all. So anyway, I'm going to go hand this out. Anybody have any questions before I walk away for a few minutes? All right, I'll be back in about 5 to 10 minutes. Hey, don't be close.